Changing tack, was there anything particularly concrete regarding interest for players on the last day of the transfer window?
Once again, it's a difficult interview for you, this, because there's no real answers. I mean, I've had no contact with the board regarding ins and outs. I don't think that was maybe a massive priority for them at the moment, as I'm sure everyone would understand. There's sort of maybe bigger things going on and bigger questions that people would like answering, especially supporters, and rightly so. So no, for me, there's no transfer news. The squad we've got and the injured boys coming back is looking really healthy. So the fans can be certainly assured that going forward we've got a good selection of players to choose from.
Because I'm sure there were plans to try and make additions to try and strengthen what you were doing. That didn't happen either.
No, and as I say, the manager deals with things like that with the board, and so far we've brought in a good selection of players, I think, as everyone would agree. So that would be between him and the board. Like I say, as much as I'm stepping up to the plate and being asked to do a role that I didn't sort of sign up for, I'm more than happy to do so, but that's as far as it goes for the time being, taking training and trying to set the boys up best I can to help us win a game of football.
So just finally on all that then, there's been no kind of, take it to the end of the season type conversations there?
No, I think, like everyone knows, that there's a process going on outside or within the football club, however you want to look at it. I'm that next person on the coaching staff who they can turn to sort of, like I keep using that phrase, hold the fort and tick the boys over and try best I can to make things as normal as possible. It's been a tough time for everyone, an unusual time for everyone. I was so pleased that the players and the fans got the 3 points last week, regardless of it being a very scrappy game and certainly not a classic. It got the team back up to second, and all I can think about is the game tomorrow and try and keep us, in those top 2 places in the league.
And regarding that game tomorrow, any selection issues to contend with further to what you may already have?
No, there's a few lads we're looking at today, like we always do the day before, a few knocks here and there, but no one I can concrete say is out or definitely in. But it's a healthy selection problem would be for any manager taking the team tomorrow, and we're certainly not going to be short of bodies, which is great.
Over the last couple of matches, that sort of free-flowing, high-press element of what Chesterfield have done really well, supporters have come on to us and said that maybe it's dipped a little bit. Is that sort of fair? I
think one thing I've sort of I've learnt here, but especially with Chesterfield fans, is they really want to be entertained. I think that's probably for most football supporters at most football clubs. So that's certainly expected from the club, the playing staff, and the coach staff. We know that. I think tomorrow's a good chance to try and entertain them, try and play some real good football, whilst obviously trying to win the game. The game at Eastleigh was, I've been in those situations before as a player and sometimes a coach where a manager's not around, and it can go really bad for other players' heads are everywhere, everyone's asking questions, no one really knows what's going on. But today, to try and get the players thinking more about tomorrow, I think the message is, let's just go and entertain those supporters whilst trying to get points and keep up the top of the league. Like if you're saying to me now, can we entertain and win the game? Fingers crossed, and we'll give it a good go to do that.
Because I appreciate that there comes a point in every season where there is just the grind, isn't there? Frankly, it doesn't matter so long as you win. But just wondering whether some of the finer points, I suppose, of what has made Chesterfield great this year just hasn't been there in recent weeks, and whether that's because of personnel not been around, Manny Oyeleki not playing, that type of thing, and whether that's affecting how you're able to get through matches.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think obviously despite that, we've only really lost at we lost at Maidenhead, which was obviously a very bad night at the office. But yeah, I think that's fair. I think a lot of performances, even the ones we've won and drawn, have not been classics. There's not been everyone up off their seat, and yet we've managed to stay second in the league. So that's a positive, that the performances haven't been mind-blowing, and yet we're still in a shout with going top tomorrow. So I for as long as I'm doing it, would like to entertain the supporters. I think last week was a challenge for all of us just to get through that game and just try and keep this week calm, or as calm as possible, which I think we've done a good job of doing. And then tomorrow we can hopefully get back to that free-flowing football you're talking about.
Yeah, because pressure would be understandable given Well, it's understandable, given the fact that you can be first, fifth, and everything else going on at the top of the National League right now. Well, we've kind of addressed this, haven't we? But the idea of football pressure must be quite intense right now, because one match day you might be first or fourth. That's just how it is in the National League this year.
Well, yeah, before kick-off at Eastleigh we were 6th or 7th, and then by the end of play we were 2nd, so I was quite pleased with that. But it could all change again tomorrow. You know, I'm not silly. I know it can go two ways tomorrow, because we're playing against a good team who were going to come here and fancy themselves to get a result, because I think that is most games in that National League tomorrow. Everyone will fancy beating the opposition. It's one of those years, so we've got to be on our game. We've got to keep our discipline. We've got to keep defending resolutely and strongly, and limit the risks we take whilst playing that free-flying football and getting the supporters off their seat.
Yeah, because Dagenham have proven that they're a decent team, but in recent weeks have come up short against Stockport and Halifax.
Yeah, I think so. I think you know, I've watched them a few times and got some good attacking options. You know, Darren McMahon's a good manager who knows his way around this league very well, and someone I know quite well. So it'll be a tough game. You know, we're not silly, and I think with games like today, I think the first goal will be very big. You know, stating the obvious. You know, that's the same for most games. But at home, if we can get that first goal and get the whole crowd behind us, I think the players can relax and enjoy the afternoon.
Best of luck.
Thanks
a lot.
Thank you.
Good morning, Danny.
Hello, Liam. You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good.
How far away is Gavin Gunning to returning to the side?
I think the problem with his calf, I'd be looking at a couple of weeks, and then maybe into light training. I think, as you appreciate at the minute, there's so much going on day to day that the definite answers that we would have on a normal week maybe not be quite as definite as usual. But I would say a couple of weeks, and certainly he would be out the next couple of games.
I think his previous problem, did he have a shin injury as well? Is that still ongoing as well? Has that cleared up a bit now, and it's more his calf issue? Yeah,
I think the two are linked. You know, I'm not a medical expert, but as far as I understand, the two are linked. I think that the calf maybe made him walk a bit differently, so the weight went on the front of his leg. I think there's some sort of link between the two, but yeah, the calf is the thing that's keeping him out at the moment.
And Manny Oyeleki's situation, is this going to be ongoing for the rest of the season, do you think, where he's going to have to be managed, and it's sort of, he's going to be a doubt for a game every now and again, because it just seems to be ongoing, doesn't it?
I think it's I think that's a good question. I think that he's an excellent player. He really sort of makes us tick at times, and it's important now, whatever happens and what decisions are made of him, that it isn't one step forward and four back. You know, whether that be missing a game or two when he's really close to being fully fit, just to make sure that when he does come back, he is fully fit. Maybe that's the way to go. These are decisions that we've got to make at this difficult time. He's nearly there. He's nearly there. We'll have a look at him today, and we'll see how he is for tomorrow. But what I've seen over the course of the season is that if he does come back in when he's not quite fit, like any player, not just Manny, if they're not quite there, the players want to play every game. But if they're not quite there, it might be, you know, a hindrance to his progress if he's thrown in too early. But we'll have a look at that today.
Is there any further sort of clarity on that in terms of what his actual problem is? Is it just a niggling injury that just needs some rest, or is there something that he might have to look at?
I think it's been a calf a couple of times now, so I think Emma's really taken the time on this one and really tried to assess the problem, sat down with him and every day, like a real, almost like interrogation about his calf, to make sure that, you know, we don't do that thing where we even like the rehab stuff, it's not too much too quickly, and then he's out and he's back again, then he's out, because when he's in, you know, he's a great addition to the team. So it'll be a play-it-by-ear job, and we'll know more today.
And did Jim Kellerman come through Eastleigh okay?
Yeah, he's still feeling that whack he had at Maidenhead. You know, he got through the game okay. He's another one, you know, we'll have a look at today and see how he is.
And you've already spoken about, you know, touched upon the style of play this season. Has the signing of Joe Quigley sort of changed Chesterfield's style as well?
I don't think so. I think you could say that, you know, people looking on might suggest that when a team has a big target man, maybe Quiggs or Dents, or Payne if he was in the team, and other teams, that sometimes that's an option to go to. And I suppose supporters might say, and people might say, that sometimes if players on the pitch see that option, it's an easy go-to. Let's get it up to the big man. So that's something that's always been in football in terms of a suggestion and a view of having that sort of player in the team. I think he's worked his socks off since he's been in. He's a great lad. And I thought also that Quasi, when he came on and we win 1-0, and I thought he changed the game. So we're good. We've got a good choice of options. But no, I say the Quigg signing, I think he's a decent lad. He's a good player, and I bet he can't wait to get off the mark.
How do you sort of see his role within the team, and how best to use him then? Is he that sort of target man that you can hit long, or do you think he's got a bit more to his game than just that?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think he has got more to his game than that. As a coach talking, I think the question of a role of people going forward, I think that's something I can't think about. I'm not really prepared to think that far ahead on what is that role of the person, the team going forward weeks on weeks. It's a bit of a cop-out of an answer, but it's the truth. It's from day to day, and what I think this week will be the best team we've got available to go and beat Dagenham. So in terms of people's roles going forward, everyone at this club's got something to offer, and whatever the club decides to do going forward with the management, they'll have a good selection of lads and players, but most importantly, good selection of people to choose from.
How important is it tomorrow that the fans get right behind the team as they often do?
Oh, yeah, they don't often do. They always do. I've been quite blown away, really, home and away. Especially second halves of games when we're sort of going towards the cop end. It's the old hairs on the back of the neck stand up when they're getting behind the boys, and they do appreciate that. There comes certain pressures with this football club. It's like a one town club, or a one club town, however you want to put it. Most people follow the team within this area. There's pressures with that the players have got to deal with tomorrow, But it is a better pressure going into that game second than going into that game second from bottom. Believe me, it's a different type of pressure, and a pressure that we all would prefer, knowing that we could go top as opposed to we could go bottom. So we've got to embrace that pressure, and also appreciate the fact that these supporters turn it week in, week out, and get behind us, and it is very much appreciated.
And just finally, what do you think is going to be the key to winning the game tomorrow?
I think there's so many factors. Like I said earlier, it's a tough league, really tough league this year. It's always a tough league, but this year the quality, I think, is very, very high. I think after last year with no fans being let in, it's like a release for everyone. So even the atmospheres at the smaller grounds are much more raucous than they maybe would have been before. We're a big club, so teams get off the coach here and they're up for it, and they want to upset the sort of 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people that are in there supporting Chesterfield. So there'll be many, many factors. I'm a big believer in decision making on the pitch. I think if your decision making is right, if you move the ball quickly, you give yourself a chance. If you sort of take too many touches, if you take too long to make a decision, everyone in the ground gets a bit nervous, and you're giving away needless corners and things like that. You don't help yourself. So there's lots of factors, but I think if we turn up and are on it, are on our game, and hopefully Dagenham aren't, it could be a good afternoon. But I'm sure they'll be thinking the same thing.